Fish en papillote, it's just the fancy French way to say fish that's baked in paper. And this is a really lovely way to prepare fish. What I love most about this is it's a real meal in one because I'm adding some potatoes to it and it all cooks at the same time. Now we'll start with some baking paper. We want 2 long pieces per parcel. So we want it to be about 40 centimetres long. And a second piece. And this is going to be our vessel for the fish and the potatoes to cook into. So I'll just place that to one side while we prepare everything else. To garnish this, I've got some garlic and parsley and I want to chop it together. So crush the garlic and we'll start chopping it. To this I'll add a little bit of salt and this breaks down the garlic. Also some parsley, a few sprigs of parsley, and I don't mind using the stalks for this. We'll just break that up. And then we want to run our knife through it a few times. This combination of parsley and garlic is so good with fish and potatoes. Both the potatoes and the fish love this flavour together. All right, on to the potatoes. Now, I love these Carisma potatoes. They're an all-round potato and it has a really thin skin so you don't have to worry about peeling them. I also love the flesh. Look how golden and creamy in colour it is. The flavour is also creamy, so it goes really nicely with our fish. So you want to cut these quite thin. The thinner the better because you want it to cook in the same amount of time as the fish. And as we know, fish doesn't take long at all to cook. And you want about 4 or 5 slices per parcel. Okay, the fun part, which is assembling the parcels. We'll start with 1 piece of paper. To that we'll add our lovely potatoes and we'll just place them on the bottom. To that we'll add our piece of fish. I'm using a white fish here. This is ling or rock ling. You could also use some grouper, some cod. Snapper works really well, even flathead. To this we'll add our garlic and parsley mixture. Sprinkle that over the top. All important salt. Sprinkle that on the fish and the spuds. And some capers, some Kalamata olives, and this is my preference, but the beautiful thing about this is you have the base of the potatoes and the fish, and then you can change it up. If you wanted a little bit of an Asian-inspired dish, you could add some coriander and some chili, maybe a splash of soy sauce. It really is up to you. You could add some cream, some white wine. So there's so many different ways of doing this. And if I'm super organised, I sometimes make this ahead of time, pop them in the freezer, and then all you need to do when you want a really quick dinner is take them straight from the freezer into the oven and they cook in no time at all. So a few tomatoes. Tomatoes are great for this because they're a little bit watery. So as they cook, they form a lovely juice for our packaging. Lastly, some olive oil. Drizzle that over the top and we're good to go. Another piece of baking paper over the top, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as it's sealed, we want it to be sealed. So I just start on one side and just scrunch it up and keep it quite firm and just go around the shape of the potato and the fish. And turn it around and then keep folding it. You can see as I do this, I'm twisting and holding it with my finger so it seals it up. Okay. And that's what we're after. So it's going to steam and puff up in the bag, keeping all those lovely flavours inside. None of that's going to be released until you open it up. It's going to smell so good. So that's our first little package. Onto a baking dish. I'm going to make one more into the oven. These won't take long, about 20 to 25 minutes. All right, these have come out of the oven, so let's serve this up. We'll just place it onto a plate. And it really is much more dramatic if you serve it on the plate and then open up just before eating it. So a little sharp knife will cut into that bag and then rip it open. Ooh, And how good is that? That fish is cooked to perfection. And look at all those natural juices that have come out of those tomatoes and the fish, creating a lovely sauce. I would serve that as is, nothing else required. A simple dinner like that. It's the little pleasures in life, isn't it?